What happens at laser tag never stays at laser tag.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
I feel like you could be like in Ghostbusters or something.
Oh my God, you have got some stories.
Let's talk about laser tag.
Who knew you were a laser tag legend?
Time to get laser unfocused. Tag Talk with Tivia.
Welcome to Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Hi, I'm Tivia. When you are enthusiastic about the amusement industry, you never run out of places to visit or stories to tell, which is why I'm excited to chat with someone who loves family entertainment centers as much as I love laser tag. And often those two things go together. So my guest today is Clint Novak, and he is a content creator and family entertainment center enthusiast with enough FEC visits under his belt to rival me, which is why I knew we had to talk. So welcome, Clint. So glad to meet with a fellow enthusiast, and you've been going all over the country as well, kind of going at things from a different angle. Please tell me a little bit about your background and how you began visiting and documenting your FEC visits as a content creator and just somebody who loves it in general.
Sure. Well, both stories go kind of far back. I first started working in the industry when I was a teenager at an amusement park in Minnesota called Valley Fair. I was a ride operator one summer. And after that, I really discovered my love of roller coasters. So I became a roller coaster enthusiast. And so I moved out to Virginia. I became obsessed with roller coasters. And then I started a YouTube channel called In the Loop, and a roller coaster club called the Coaster Crew. And then both of those continue to go on to be very successful clubs and social media content areas on the internet. Now I work with A&A Global after working for Funland of Fredericksburg, which is a family entertainment center in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I worked there for about 8 or 9 years. Since then I've been doing a lot of stuff. So with A&A, I create some content for family entertainment centers as I visit them. But what I'm also doing when I'm visiting family entertainment centers is just providing extra eyes to be successful, bringing any information I can to help them be a better place. And so I tour a lot of FECs with A&A Global. I did over 150 FECs in 2024. So it has been kind of a whirlwind first year of visiting family entertainment centers, and it's amazing. It's the best job ever. So
150 in 1 year. I had a feeling that one of us was going to be saying, hold my beer to the other. I just wasn't sure which way that was going to go. That's tremendous. Now, how many FECs would you say you've been to in total? Have you been tracking them? Do you have a number to point to?
So yes and no. There's a lot of FECs that I've gone to for my second time while working with A&A Global. Because before actually working for A&A, one of my things working with Funland of Fredericksburg, we always wanted to share information. We always wanted to gather more information. So we visited a lot of locations with my stint at Funland of Fredericksburg. So there's I'd probably say just between working in the industry and being a fan of the industry, when it comes to just family entertainment centers, probably well over 200, maybe 250. But then if you start throwing in amusement parks, then we had 3, 4, who knows?
That's awesome. So that's great to kind of hear. And when you started doing your reviews, I mean, did you have any direction where this was going to take you? Did you have any vision of that?
No, I mean, we started with roller coasters, and then I split off from In the Loop, and me and my wife started our own content, our own channel, Happily Ever Novak. And then when I started with A&A, we're still kind of trying to figure it all out still, but it was like I was helping with some social media stuff, and I would do a video, and we have Clint's Corner, which is through A&A, which is social media as well. We were trying to highlight, through Clint's Corner, but then we could also do stuff on my own page. So if we're doing reels or something, just real quick. But yeah, I mean, it's just whatever I thought was interesting, we were shooting and doing and having fun with it. So.
Well, that's awesome. And it's really cool to hear about, somebody else who's creating some content for this industry. And I knew that you did some of this by way of your employment. And, I do mine as just a crazy hobby that I love. But it seems like there's a lot of overlap there with your background as well. And so now everybody knows that when I personally walk into an FEC, I am laser focused, but on finding the laser tag. But you seem to take more of an all-encompassing view of the approach to your visit. So let's talk a little bit about what is it that you look for when you walk into a facility? Like, what makes the best first impression on you?
Well, anytime I walk into a facility, whether I'm invited with as ANA Global or if I'm just walking in, it seems like my mind is always operation focused. Like I start looking around and see what does the facility have? What do they have to offer? I start looking at safety things that may be popping up, in the back of my head. It's one of those things you can never turn off. Once you were an operator, once you've run a location, once you've gone through all of the different things that I've had to do, it seems like that's all that's all you do when you walk into a place. So I'm always looking at, how would I have done it? How are they doing it? Maybe they found something that I'm like, ooh, that's a better idea than what I was doing, or vice versa. And then we help each other out. So, you know, we talk about laser tag. In my facility, when I first took over Funland of Fredericksburg, it was a Lasertron arena, pretty old. Creative Works I did it. It could have been the Creative Works. It could still have been the original arena from when it was built. We're not really sure, but it was an older arena. And I had the fun opportunity of overseeing the creation of a new arena, and I'll say on a budget, because when we were all finished and everything was said and done, we had what was to us a brand new Lasertron arena with laser blast system, and yeah, and we ran with it with that. So I get the unique perspective of I've got to build a laser tag arena once, but then you also get to have some fun playing, and what makes the laser tag arena fun to play. So.
What are some of the coolest things that you've seen in FECs, and particularly if they stood out from a laser tag arena? Any suggestions that might be helpful to somebody thinking about creativity?
Oh, there's so many different ways you could go with that. So yes, almost every location I walk into, I always walk away with something that's like, oh, that's it. The thing that shined the most. But yeah, it's a tough question.
There's a lot out there.
There's so much stuff out there. Exactly.
Well, what kind of went through your mind as you were creating an arena on your own? I mean, what were the things that you thought about?
So we were on a budget, so we didn't have an unlimited amount of money to purchase what we wanted to do, and I was moving into the position of manager at the arena, and the general manager before me purchased a brand new Lasertron arena at auction. So it was a facility, I believe, in New Jersey. It had just opened. 6 months later, they weren't able to survive. They had to close down, and all of their stuff went up for auction. So we won the whole arena, and I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't there at that time, but they piled it all into a semi truck, put it into storage, and then that's where I took over. So I had the fun of figuring out, first of all, okay, how do you build a Lasertron arena? So I had to go visit other Lasertron arenas to figure out how the plastic columns go into the ground, how they anchor to the ground, how the other ones are designed, and then kind of look at what we have, because I never had a picture of the old arena. So I had to look at, oh, well, we have a whole bunch of these plastic red and blue and green columns. Like, what are we going to do with these? So yeah, me and the other managers, we visited several other locations that had Lasertron equipment. And then in this process, we decided that we didn't want to go with the Lasertron equipment, that we wanted to go with Laser Blast. And the reason behind this, and this would have been close to 10 years ago. Cyberblast had just come out. So I think they had maybe 1 or 2 years of Cyberblast under their belt. But we wanted the wireless charging. That's the one thing we wanted. And nobody at the time was offering that. That was like almost an exclusive with Laser Blast. And since we didn't have like there was no reason we had to stay with Lasertron at that point, we got to kind of do with whatever we wanted with the equipment. So we demolished. We actually had a fire. The Fredericksburg Fire Department came in to the old arena, and they had 2 days to do whatever they wanted in the arena. So they got to do like breaking, through walls and crawling through with fire hoses. They smoked the whole room, and so they got to do a lot of cool training that they wouldn't normally get to do because they actually got to use axes to break down walls. But the deal was they had to help us break down all of the walls. So once they were clear, they had to then come in and help us take down everything in the Laserdron arena. And so that we started with just concrete, and we left the facade up around the arena, so we still had the Creative Works planets, floating in the background. And then that's when the layout began. We had less than 14 days to go from one arena to opening the next arena. So fire department came in and we spent all the time getting rid of everything. Then we laid everything out. We put everything together. And Laser Blast came in. It took 2 days to install their system on top of what we had done, and then we opened up a brand new arena, and we had a lot of fun with it. It was crazy time.
Oh my gosh, that's a great story. And talk about some creativity. What a great approach to how to get your demolition done.
Exactly. Yeah. And, it was, we work a lot with the city of Fredericksburg. So, when we build new rides and attractions, they're always part of the mix as to, how to do it safely. Once the ride's open, making sure it's running properly and safely. So yeah, it was natural that we, teamed up with the fire department on something like that. And it wasn't the last time that they were involved in the process of building a new ride or attraction. But yeah, we had fun with it, and we not only did we continue, we had laser tag. It was super popular. We had 18 rides and attractions. It was always one of the top five. But we also, in the winter or in October, we would try to get creative and make haunted houses out of our laser tag arena.
Mhm.
And so one year, and I always wanted to build a big haunted house, but we could never give up the laser tag portion of it because it made so much money. We couldn't say, okay, for the month of October, we're just going to be a haunted house. That wouldn't work. And so we always, every year, we would commit ourselves to being able to build the haunted house in a way that it could be done in an hour. So at 6 o'clock, we would close the laser tag arena. We'd be able to go in, put the walls in because the Lasertron, you could put, the slide walls in and make the arena. And by 7 o'clock, it was a haunted house. And so there's very light theming. We would bring, the theming was us. We would dress up and scare people. But man, did we have a blast doing that. So
That's awesome. And there have been a lot of attractions where laser tag and haunted houses have been combined. And I've had some kind of cool experiences actually tagging the monsters coming around. And so a lot
yeah,
of different ways that approach can be taken.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I know you and I have both been to some really impressive facilities, and just taking a cursory look at your list, particularly where you've been in the last year, it became really obvious to me that there are no less than at least 20 places that we've both been to, probably more. And
Okay.
just glancing at a few of them, I thought maybe we could kind of compare notes and experiences on what stood out. And, because I come at it from the laser tag perspective, you might have different eyes on these places, and I'd love to know what you think. And
Awesome.
the one that is hardly ever just the one, a lot of these places have multiple locations, and one such case is Andretti's Indoor Karting.
Okay.
And so I know you've been to at least one, but have you been to more than one? And what locations did you go to?
So currently, right now, I am only missing two Andretti's,
Okay.
both in Dallas. So I'm missing the two Andretti's in Dallas. Otherwise, I've been to all of them. It doesn't mean that I have been inside the arena, and it may not have been an official tour or visit. The very first Andretti's doesn't even exist anymore. They closed down now. But I was in that one months before it was closed. So, and then of course Orlando, I've been to more times than I can count because of IAPA. And then the other ones in the Atlanta area I've been to a couple of times. But yeah, so yes, I've been to a lot of Andretti's.
Okay, excellent. So have I. I've been to the Marietta, Georgia, and to the new one in Chandler, Arizona. But you and I met at IAPA. So why don't we take a moment to talk about our Andretti's in Orlando? Because my understanding is that is some brand new theming. Have you seen the before and after in that arena?
You know what? I don't know if I have seen the before and after. The last time I saw it, it was car themed, with like a big block engine in there, and that is that the same theming or is it different now?
Okay, now what I saw when I was at Orlando's looks like it's brand spanking new, and it really caught my eye because there is a statue in there. It was a photo op, let me tell you.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
and they have a really unique setup on their second level. Lots of catwalks, lots of bridges, very, very cool design. The architecture on that arena really is what stood out most to me. And I remember taking a sweet spot on the second level where I was playing right next to the aesthetic of we had some power lines kind of climbing up from the first level into the second. So that was what was most memorable to me. So they had base housing that looked like a gas station. And so if I saw something different than you did, then next time you're in Orlando, you've got something to
Wow.
revisit.
Yeah, yeah. I just pulled up the pictures to see, and I'm seeing what I saw before, which is the gears and the engine block and all that. So, but yeah, that might and a spark plug and all that. Yeah, so it might have changed. That's crazy.
But I love how they've incorporated racing into a lot of their facilities. And have you been to Chandler, Arizona then as well?
Yes, I've
Okay.
been into their banquet rooms, but not into the laser tag.
Okay. So you've got some cool stuff to see next time you're there. They have this giant racing trophy in the middle. I mean, it is a statement structure. So
Awesome.
those are the things I picked up on. Tell me what stands out to you when you go to Andretti's.
Well, for Andretti specifically, when it comes, it's operations. That's always kind of the things that I normally gravitate towards is how they operate. Are they doing a pre-show or how do they get people into the room? How many people do they get in the room? How do they fit that many people in the room? It's always that kind of stuff. And so, and like I said, the thing that stood out for me, and I can only remember going into the one is the Orlando one, and that was that it was race car themed. But definitely some of the ones that pop out as like being unique are the ones that try to do theming based around the area that they're in.
Mhm.
Whenever they can include landmarks and things like that in the arena that gravitate towards the area that you're in. I want to say there was one in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm having trouble remembering which location it was, that really just implemented a lot of Boston into their arena from the sporting teams to just kind of an apocalyptic nightmare in Boston. And yeah, also, well, this one wasn't even on my list. It just popped up in my head. I was when we were talking. This is years and years ago. We were talking to Creative Works about building. I want to say it was like mini golf, or maybe we were looking at upgrading our laser tag facility, and we were talking about themes. Okay, well, you want something that's gonna, be for everybody. You don't want to go into like a princess one because that's only gonna be girls and da da da. And then they mentioned that they're working on a special project in Maryland, and it was a Back to the Future themed laser tag. And I was like, oh
Really?
my God, I have to go to this place when it opens. And it opened, a couple years later. Amazing, this Back to the Future laser tag up in what was it? Fourth Dimension, I think it was called.
Oh my goodness. I have been to
Yeah.
Fourth Dimension, but I missed this whole Back to the Future theming.
What?
But I feel like
Wow.
I missed. Wait a sec. What? No, you're going to make
I'm,
me go back to my notes.
I'm looking.
I
I'm
have been
looking.
there
I'm
for
looking it
sure.
up right now. I'm like, wait a minute. Was I serious? I think it was in Frederick, Maryland. Frederick.
It was in Frederick, Maryland. Okay, the listeners can just talk amongst themselves as we think.
We're too busy. We need to know fourth dimension. Because maybe I don't I know they for sure had a black light.
No, I remember that being a super cool arena. I remember playing the Invictus system. iCombat's Invictus was in use there. Was that the
Okay,
equipment at that time?
okay. Um,
And I do remember some super cool theming. I just do not specifically recall Back to the Future, but
I
you never
play
know.
laser
And also,
tag.
and also one person's impression of what the theme is, because hardly ever do arenas use the actual name of what inspired them. So it
And
probably would never
that's
be
true.
called a Back to the Future arena, even if it had some inspired by elements, is
Yeah,
probably the safest
it's
way to say that.
100% true. But they had the flying DeLorean. I wanted to say they had like Biff Tower, and they
Oh,
had
see,
some
I would have
other
remembered a
like
DeLorean, I'm sure.
yeah. There's some other locational things. It's they don't have it like in the pictures that I'm looking at here.
I am going to have to go
I
back
want
to
to
my own
say
pictures.
almost for
So.
sure that it was fourth dimension. Um, yeah, and I'm popping it up but I'm almost positive that's where it was at.
Okay. Well, I'm going to look and see where my memory might be fuzzy on that, because I do remember it being a very cool arena. So maybe we're talking exactly the same thing and we're just using different semantics and terms.
Oh,
But
yep. Okay, I found one. Yep, a picture in 2020. The Flying DeLorean, Biff Tower. Yep, I found a picture from there. So yep,
okay, I'm going to go
it
back
is
to my own pictures
actually it's
and see
from
what I
Creative
remember.
Works. Creative Works has the picture, so it's on the Creative Works website.
Fabulous. Okay. Well, either way, no matter what you call it, that was a good one.
There you go. I couldn't. I was a huge Back to the Future fan, so I was like, I had to go see that when it opened, and yeah. So that was not. It was one of the things before I worked at A&A. We just went in there to check it out, and it was really cool. So
Okay, so mea culpa if I was remembering that wrong. But going back though to what you were saying before about how it's really cool when places incorporate some local touches. Another arena that I know you and I have both visited is the City Forum in Clarksville, Tennessee.
mhm.
And wow, this is an impressive facility. I mean, this is a huge place. And that one I remember having two levels, and they had kind of like the city represented with a little bit of kind of a grunge theme, the underground on the lower level, and then a little bit brighter, more representing some of the local touches, like the water tower were on the upper level. So uh,
Yeah, I do
things
remember the
like
water
that,
tower. Yep.
yeah, things like that really impressed me. I also I want to give them a shout out, because I remember the briefing video was something that they produced themselves, and I thought they did a really good job with that.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, so I may have not done the briefing video, but I do remember the water tower as I'm looking through pictures and the setup. Yeah, again, it's kind of a bummer that I don't get enough time to play at all the different places because now that we're looking at it, I'm like, oh man, that would have been a fun one to play.
but you've probably seen a lot of the other cool things. Like the other thing that really stood out to me there was the mini golf that they had in the center with fountains. I mean,
Mhm.
you walked into this place. This was a classy looking FEC, and they had some really standout pieces right as soon as you entered. I was like, oh, this place has got their act together.
Yeah, yeah, and they're expanding. So it's like
Really?
they let
Okay.
me in on a little bit of what they were doing last time I was there, and I just want to I'm going to their website to see if they've announced any of that stuff because I know they're working hard on it. But they're adding some new attractions. Up, yep, they have some of that up in here. So they got a new drop tower from SBF Visa coming, a new spin coaster coming in. So yeah, it was already a massive place too. I mean, it is a big place, and they're transforming a big chunk of the back area into rides, adding more rides in. So look forward to seeing that expansion there too.
Yes, as I recall, that was previously like a warehouse. So, I
Yeah.
mean, very, very big, very well done facility there. Um, Anything else you remember specifically from your visits there?
Well, again, it was the size of the facility, the food. I had a chance to eat the food there, which was phenomenal. It was fun because when you walked in, like you said, they had the mini golf with the fountains and stuff right in the middle. They had the go-karts, and then of course all these rides that they were talking about bringing in are rides that I've already built at my facility too, so I know the ins and outs of what they had coming in, good, bad, and ugly. And the people that own the facility are just amazing, and the people who run the facility are amazing. So, great people to work with.
Yes, that one is a locally owned site, not part of a chain.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
it's always kind of cool to, know that you've got some hometown roots to go back to there.
Yeah, yeah. What is it that you look for when you're playing laser tag? Like, what kind of arena? What are the things that get you excited when you're traveling to a new arena?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of things that I get excited about, and really it's what makes something unique. There are a lot of very well done arenas out there, and sometimes I see very similar theming come up more than once.
Hmm.
So when something is a little bit different, that is what really stands out to me, and that's kind of the things that I pick up on the most. Although it doesn't really affect the game all that often, the theming is what I like to see because
Okay.
I feel like that's where you've got your creative elements and I like a cool aesthetic. But as far as for playing a space, I do love a big arena.
Okay.
That we've gone through kind of a transition where laser tag used to be predominantly standalone facilities. So you'd go
Mhm.
someplace and laser tag would be the thing that they did, maybe with some arcades or a few games out in the lobby. And we've kind of transitioned where there's a lot more of the whole FEC model going on now, where laser tag is a piece of the puzzle. And
Yeah.
so sometimes that limits how large that they build it to be. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes everybody goes like, they have that go big or go home attitude, and I love that. But a nice big arena is always something that's pretty attractive to me. When they have brightness going on, I mean, I'm not as wild about dimly lit arenas. I do
Okay.
like something that's bright and visible, bright colors and fun. Oh my gosh, just people
Yeah.
keeping it fun. And I've been to a lot of places where really that all boils down to, I'm sure you'll agree, the staff. The
Yeah.
staff can make or break a facility. And I have gone into some briefings where the enthusiasm was just so infectious that you couldn't help but have fun even before you had stepped foot into the arena. And to me, that makes a huge difference. I oftentimes will shout out a game master or somebody who's leading the briefing and really has got their whole show and their presentation really together. The more theatrical it is, the better as far as I'm concerned.
We when we first put in our arena, we wanted to do like special laser tag nights for members and just get everybody jazzed up. And we would let our employees come and play on membership night, like Thursday nights. I forget. It was like we called it like special ops laser tag.
Hmm.
And those are the nights that we would play all of the different game modes that typically we'd only play free for all, especially on a Saturday when you're busy. You can't stop to make teams and all that. We just do free for all every game. But on these Thursday nights, we would just get so creative. We'd first of all, we just we get to use the game modes that you wouldn't typically. In Laser Blast, it was zombies, White Rabbit, all these different ones. But we made up one where we took you get the like 6-inch balls, the rainbow balls that glow in the dark from the arcade, and we would put 8 of them around the arena and not know where they are. So you just you have eight balls all the way around the arena. And the goal was you had to collect all of the eggs, the alien eggs, and bring them to your base. And they had to be in your base. Um, but you could have somebody infiltrate your base and throw in the eggs, but you're throwing the eggs up into the base. But if you got shot, if you go down for 30 seconds, and if your vest went down, you had to drop the egg. You couldn't touch eggs for 30 seconds. And so it was crazy because there's balls flying everywhere. Like we were throwing ball, like get them over to the other base, and you couldn't throw all the way to the other base. So it was like you had to get like a pattern down to throw to this person, to that person, into the base, and da, 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 and then, but then if somebody got shot, that whole pattern was gone. You had to figure out a different way to get the eggs there, and those were some of the most intense games where you just walk out just drenched, like you were just like it was a big workout.
That's like crazy capture the flag on steroids.
That's exactly what it was. It was kind of like our version of capture the flag. Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. So it was always nuts, but we had a blast. So
That's awesome. I love the creativity. And when you can incorporate something kind of unique that you're not going to be able to play just anywhere, I mean, that is
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And I remember when you were saying like the laser tag places used to be standalone. I remember going as a kid, for the the overnights. Like you would get there at 11 o'clock at night, and you got 7 hours of just unlimited gameplay. And so you're just constantly you had 15 friends, and you're going in and out, playing all these different variations. And then again, they had a small arcade, but it was nothing. Nothing too big. Maybe they had The Simpsons or Ninja Turtles that you're playing. Got some pizza at some point in the overnight, and yeah, I just that just crazy. Sleeping in the arcade floor at the laser tag arena.
I thought that was just me.
No, no. Every kid in the 80s.
Absolutely. And you know what? Segue into speaking of the 80s, another one that we've both been to that is really very unique is Game On Social Hub. And it's
Okay.
specifically unique because they have the photon themed arena. And at this point, there are no original photon arenas left. So that's as close as we're going to get as old school photon warriors. And so in that case, for me, the arena just is everything. Um, the whole modified alpha field and the design with the three towers, but they also have modernized it quite a bit too, because they've got these plastic doorways that are kind of infused with literally thousands of LED lights are embedded in
Mhm.
this heavy grade plastic, and so the glowing that it gives off, I mean, it's new, but it still harkens back to that 80s feel. And laser tag is what definitely brought me in, but they have so much going on there, from the bowling alley to the arcade to the bar and restaurant. And so those were the things that stood out to me. But maybe you've got a view. Well, do you recall the bowling alley there? Let's talk about the VIP Lux accommodations.
Okay.
Do you did you have a chance to see any of that while you were touring that facility?
So yeah, I'm bringing up pictures as I'm going through, and yeah, I mean, I remember going through, seeing the bowling, going through the arcade game, and I think actually I'm going back because the FEC Summit is in New Orleans this year, so I think we're going back to Game on Social. But yeah, yep. And I remember the laser tag vividly because it was, again, like one of those arenas where that is a very unique arena, very colorful, but also is like, they use a lot of white so they can use the lighting to make the colors of the arena, and it just looks so cool. Because I'd never been in an arena like that before. So
Well, back in the 80s, had you been playing on a photon field, you would have had a very similar kind of experience, but a more 80s styled experience.
yep.
And so I think that they've done a really great job, paying homage to where it all started and yet modernizing it in at the same time. And so they've got some very cool, classy things going on there. And I bring up the bowling area just because I remember the Lux couches in the VIP area. Never seen a bowling alley that deluxe.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And I'm not a bowler per se,
Mhm.
but those are the type of things that
Yeah, when
kind of made
when you
that
when you
facility a little
travel
different.
around and you go to FECs, a lot of FECs are now adding bowling, and they'll usually have regular bowling and then VIP bowling. And some of the suites that they make for VIP bowling are just amazing. Like, they're really catering to a whole new level when it comes to that VIP experience with the furniture, the lighting, sometimes projection mapping on the lanes, the ability to cater the area, to privatize it by shutting a garage door or, opening a garage door. It really is amazing what they can do with those facilities. So.
Yep, no doubt. And I'm sure you see a lot more bowling alleys, although my walking into bowling alleys most likely coincides with them having a laser tag.
Exactly.
And in your
Yep.
case, you may see some really elite things that I don't find myself privy to if they don't have a laser tag there. But it sounds like you've seen quite a few very nice facilities doing
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
things
Yep.
like that
Definitely.
certainly, those are the things that make an impression.
Yeah. Talking about unique laser tag arenas,
Mhm.
Adventure Park USA, when was it that you visited that arena?
Oh gosh, that was within the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah,
So in the last 3 years, they renovated their arena they shrunk it down. So it's a smaller version of what it used to be about 3 or 4 years ago.
really. And I
So
remember
if
feeling
you
like it was a pretty large size for what it
yeah,
was even then.
it was massive before the change. So
Okay.
and it was all they did it all in house. So even what was left was still created in house, but it had that Western theme to it.
Yes.
And before the remodel, they had a ton of buildings. So there would be like the blacksmith and the jail and city hall and the sheriff department. You go through all those individual buildings, and then ramps that went up to the second floor that could see down, and then there was a whole nother arena on the second floor. It was crazy. So. All that was done in house, and now I know they shrunk it down so they could add mini bowling in, and then they added laser blast as their system in there as well. But
Hmm.
yeah, and I think they got some projector mapping and stuff going on with the laser blast. So, but
Yeah, the
really thought
theming of
that
that
was a
one.
really cool
Yeah.
theme because it was just so unique that going in and out of the different buildings, it felt more tactical than like a regular laser tag arena.
I absolutely agree. There was a little bit more winding around to different things, and that one stands out to me because that theming was so different. So those are the things
Hmm.
that really make an impression on me when I go into a facility is, seeing something. If somebody has created it themselves, I take note of it,
Yeah,
particularly when it's really well done. So
yeah.
yeah, that was a
Another one that had a unique, and I don't know if it would be a plus or a minus for laser tag, but Laserport in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's one of those places when you're driving down the strip of Pigeon Forge, your sensories can be an overload because there's so much stuff going on.
okay.
And it's a very colorful building with like a guy coming through through it, and it's called Laserport. They have go-karts, they have an arcade, and then of course they have laser tag. And in the laser tag, they have this huge flying saucer that you can go in. The problem is it's just once you're in the flying saucer, there's very little places you can go. It's just like a walk around, but there's windows outside of the flying saucer, and it's almost like an raised platform, so it's a little higher than the rest of the arena. And they have lights underneath it, and and this was built, maybe 20 years ago they built it, and they've just been keeping it up ever since. But
Oh
the
wow.
all the details and stuff they go into with the lights and stuff, I just thought it was a fun arena. So
Well, you found one that I haven't been to, so now I'm going to have to put that on my to-do list. I like that. I'm excited about this one.
awesome.
Very cool. Um, but as for a couple that we have both done, I know I came across, but you had been to Scene 75 in Columbus, but they have several
Yes.
locations. So I'm wondering, have you been to others as well?
Scene 75 Columbus is the only Scene 75 I've been to so far.
Ah, okay. I've got you pegged on this one because I've actually been to every Scene 75, and I love how
Oh,
different they all are from each other. But let's just talk then about Columbus specifically. So,
okay.
what was your takeaway? What do you remember from that one?
Well, I don't remember specifically their laser tag, so I'm going to see if I can pull it up if I have any pictures from there, because usually I take a bunch of pictures while I was there. I
Okay.
remember their mini golf. They had two separate mini golfs, and they had really cool projection mapping on the walls while you were playing mini golf. So it was like an ocean one and a jungle one. I remember that, and I thought that was just amazing. They said that somebody in-house had created that for them. Um, so I thought that was really really cool. Seems to be
Well, now what I remember about this one with the laser tag was very unique, particularly, well, more so the outside and the aesthetic leading into the arena stood out to me because they made it like you were in an airport terminal. And
okay.
yeah, so they had their airport terminal gate was their ticket counter, and they had a monitor on the board that had your flight info, which was, your your game times. Um, so that was kind of fun. And the idea was basically that, okay, you're going on a trip, you're going on a travel into the jungle, then you're going to take a plane, and the plane didn't make it. And that's how you landed where you are in the middle of this jungle scene. And very, very bright. You crash landed on this lost island. It was a 2-story arena, and they had a lot of cool things going on, a lot of bright neon walls.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at the pictures and the notes from this, I do remember now. Yes, the arena itself. Oh, sorry, if I'm playing videos, just looking at the arena. Arena itself was really cool. I love the jungle effects, but the one thing that I noted was their briefing room had mini walls where the vests were, so you could see everything that was happening in the briefing room, and it was a big briefing room. Really big briefing room. So I remember that. And then, of course, the Lost Island entryway with that just that Creative Works plane going through it and everything was really cool. So
Now, here's the thing I remember about the briefing room. I remember thinking, okay, it's cool. We're on a plane and we get that it crash landed. It seems to me that there was a shipwreck going on in the briefing room. And I thought, did we sail in or did we fly?
yeah, who knew? Who knew?
But I guess maybe the shipwreck could have happened on the island we landed on. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
One thing that to bring up, and a lot of new places that are adding laser tag, or if they're upgrading their current facility, have been adding those Creative Works briefing rooms that that have the TVs and everything, and that are making it more of immersive experience, which I think is just really, really cool. It just adds a whole nother effect when you're watching, oh, we're crash landing on the planet. Now we have to go out on the planet and have some fun. So I thought
yes,
that was really
and
cool.
I feel like we might have both seen a very similar experience. Are you thinking of seeing this at 814 Lanes and Games? Because I was recently there, and that's one of the things that really stood out to me at, I believe it was their Johnstown facility. They have two, and I went to
Okay.
so I hope I'm not confusing the two.
That would have been one of my very first stops this year. So that
Okay.
I would have to go and look at pictures because
Yeah.
again, they all start melding together when you've been to so many. But
Don't I know it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example of. Okay. In Minnesota, a trampoline place in Minnesota. Ed
Zero
is the
gravity?
owner. There we go. Zero Gravity has it. They have the TVs with
Oh no,
the entry.
I don't remember that. I wonder if they've added that since I've been there.
Maybe they did. I don't know.
Very cool. I do remember that place, and I remember it specifically because there used to be a completely different and unrelated laser tag facility I used to go to in Albany, New York, called Zero Gravity. So that's why the
Okay.
name stuck in my head, definitely. But yeah, I remember Minnesota, and I remember enjoying that one, but I don't recall those screens at the time. So it's very possible. I love when places, continue to upgrade and renovate and add new things. It gives you a reason to go back.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
because I've
yeah.
seen something once, like with Orlando with you, you saw it in one incarnation and I saw it in a different form. And I'm sure that is the kind of thing that's going to make you want to go back and see, well, how did they make this different? What's new and exciting now?
Exactly. Yeah, and I did just go in there just to make sure, looking at my video from my trip there, and yep, it is the Creative Works. They have the three TVs, and it's laser blast vests, and they open it up and you go in after a crash landing. So, yeah,
Awesome.
just had to go double check my notes so that I'm not talking on a turn. So.
Yes, and we should say none of this is sponsored, so we're just really brainstorming all of the things that we remember. It's just kind of cool to compare notes with an enthusiast who's been to all these places because it's so much fun to share the experience too,
Yeah.
and to find people who love the same kinds of things.
Yeah, so
And
when you go into a place, you're always thinking, okay, where's my next laser tag arena? In playing laser tag. For me, when I'm going to a facility as an enthusiast, if they have a roller coaster, I have to ride it because I count roller coaster. That's what we do. We count roller coasters, and that kind of judges how big of an enthusiast you are. Is how many coasters you've been on, and so every location I go to, if I walk in and they have a roller coaster, I'm like, I just got one more. I just got one more. So,
Okay, I got to know then because I do the same thing with my laser tag arenas. I want to know, what is your roller coaster count?
Okay. I don't have the official count right now. Usually happens about this time of year. I'll go back and add all the new ones in. I'm over 300, but under 400. So probably in the 360 range if I had to guess right now.
That's impressive.
But it's not when you talk to other coaster enthusiasts. So I'm lacking. I need to get that number up. So need to get it like in
Okay.
600s is pretty reasonable. So.
It's so weird what we as enthusiasts call reasonable, isn't it? I'm creeping up on 600 laser tag arenas. I think that's a very reasonable number to exceed.
Do you have an arena that's like on your bucket list? Like you're like, oh, this is the arena I need to get to next?
I have I have several. Okay, I do have an on my radar list, and they're not
Okay.
all exactly bucket list per se,
Okay.
other than I travel all over the country and I look for where can I find a pocket of cool things that are within reasonable driving distance.
Okay.
There are a handful of arenas that are definitely higher on my radar,
Okay.
um, and uh, and one that has not come to be just yet. So
No,
keep
well,
that
they're
under
working on it.
wraps for the moment. But there are a
Okay.
couple of things that are
I call it
definitely.
my wish list. So like
Yes.
when
Okay.
a
A wish list is a
facility
good way to
reaches
put
out to
it.
me and says, "Oh, Clint, we'd love to have you come." I put their facility on Google Maps. I'll go and I'll put a little pin that says I want to go there. You know what places to visit pin, and they'll put some information down in there in the notes. But yeah, that's my wish list of places that I want to go to, just haven't gotten there yet. Um,
Oh my gosh, that
so,
is
okay,
so
when
much
you're
better than
going,
my approach, which is literally I am looking at a map with actual push pins. And that's how I started doing
mine's digital. I can carry mine wherever
it.
I
Love it.
go. So, okay, you're going, you want to play, when you set it up, do you have a certain amount of games that you want to play in the arena? Do you have friends that go with you that play? Like, how do you do that? Or do you just show up and beat every 12-year-old down, and just mow them over?
No, I have a 3 foot rule. If you're under 3 feet, I play nice.
Oh, well, you're way nicer than me.
And my experiences are a little bit different every time. I do tend to just show up places and take whatever the experience is. And sometimes if
Okay.
I'm showing up on a random Tuesday, I fully expect that I may be the only person who's walked in for laser tag. And I just
Hmm.
smile sweetly and say, is there any chance a staff member might want to do a one-on-one?
Okay.
Sometimes I'm lucky enough to go into a pocket where there are people that I know because the laser tag community is so wonderful. And, so many people who I've met through these tournaments, if I say I'm going to such and such a state, I have friends who'll say, "Hey, I'll meet up with you there. Let's do this."
Wow.
And
Okay.
sometimes we'll go for events, and sometimes it'll just be random. But I stopped needing an excuse to travel long ago, but it
Okay.
did start with tournaments where I met so many awesome people. And so now I have this network of friends. I mean, I have people that I can just call up and say, hey, let's play laser tag between New York and California. And I was actually just talking to somebody in Oregon about, hey, we should do this on my next trip. So
Huh. Okay.
yeah, so I mean, it is very cool to have that kind of a network, but more often than not, I'm just showing up and doing my thing. And if it happens to land in public hours, then I enjoy the true experience. Sometimes the arena owners don't even know that I was there until after the fact. If then,
Wow.
if they read my
Okay.
blog, they find out I stopped. Yeah. And how about for you? With the work situation is probably a little bit different, but how did that go before and after in your different incarnations of life?
So if I was at Funland, it was always like places that popped up on our radar. Like okay, they're building a big go-kart track. We need to go see this go-kart track, and so we'd reach out to them, let them know we're coming. We tour the facility with them, and so there was always kind of a reason as to where we were going. Like we knew the people, and why we were going there. Um, but now with A&A Global, it's different. So it's every week I'm on the road, or every other week I'm on the road, and so I'll go into a market, and what we're really doing is we'll highlight all of the FECs in a market. So let's say I'm going to St. Louis. We would look up all of the different FECs in that market, and then I would start looking at the facility as how can I help them. So if it's a Dave and Buster's, I can't help them. So there's nothing I can do. They're corporate. They know everything. They're perfect, you know. So there's no need for me to go in and make them better. But really, it's the mom and pop places. It's they have only owned one facility. Could have been handed down through the generations. You know, it could have been somebody trying their luck at owning an FEC for the first time. Um, and I can go in and give them a unique perspective of somebody who's not only managed their own FEC and made it into you know, the #1 FEC in 2023. But you know, went through all the same struggles, dealt with all the same vendors, you know, all of those things. And so, you know, I had Laser Blast, and so every facility I go into that has Laser Blast, I always take a picture of me in the vesting room and send it to Mike over at Laser Blast, and I'm like, where am I today? You know, because we just still have those connections, and he'll do the same thing with roller coasters, but it's much easier to tell what roller coaster is where than it is for laser tag arenas, because briefing rooms can all look the same eventually. So, but he's really good at it. He's really, really good at it. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, you've given me some great suggestions. I was hoping that maybe we could swap ideas about where to go next. If you had one FEC with laser tag that you would want to recommend to me, what would it be?
Oh my God. Well, okay. Again, there's so many. I mean, laser tag is really one of those staple attractions. So when you're building an FEC, laser tag is almost always on the table as to, okay, what are you going to put in? You know, everybody always starts with laser tag. So
As
that's
well
such a
they
tough
should.
one. I guess, you know, the thing I would be looking at is, you know, recently I went down and visited Main Event in Austin, Texas, where they have turned their laser tag arena into a gel blaster arena.
Ah, very
And
much like the main event in Orlando has done the same, just very
exactly.
recently.
Yep.
Yes.
For IAPA, and they've started switching theirs over. And so, you know, I love that concept. I went specifically there to check this out because this is one of those new things where I was like, okay, how is this going to actually hold up? And I know they've been working on it for quite some time. And so I went in, you know, with, you know, I'll say low expectations, and just came out and they just blew them away. You know, they really are working on a great product. You know, it's, if you don't know already, it's laser tag, but I call it with consequences because it's kind of like it's a cross between paintball and laser tag. You
Well,
can
they have
play
the
just
option
laser
of doing
tag.
it with or without
Yeah,
consequences.
you can play just laser tag, and that way nobody's getting pinged with gel blasters. But they can turn on the function in the phasers where gel blasters are then being shot. So then you're feeling, you know, the again consequences, the hits
Just a
of
little
the gel
projectile, a
blaster.
little gellet, as they call it. So you feel a
Exactly.
ping, but
Yep.
nothing
Yep.
nothing painful.
And it just adds that extra element because you don't want to get hit 15 times by a gel blaster. So it's like you're hiding, you're being more strategic. So I really enjoyed that. Now I played one-on-one with one of the creators of gel blasters, and I think he let me win. He says, "Oh no, you were pretty good." I think he let me win, but
You were playing Steve, weren't you?
uh, he knows how to sell these things. He's like, "Oh man, you were great. You kicked my
I
butt."
know that experience. I
Exactly,
didn't win by
exactly.
chance.
But you know, I love that. You know, I think it would be definitely different if there was like 10 on 10. Because especially in that arena, there was a lot of I'll call them dead ends where you would go and then you're kind of stuck in a corner, and the only way to get out of that corner is to go back towards the people shooting you, which is never fun. So, but with you right, and they even admitted that, you know, the laser tag arena that they're working in was not designed with what they're doing in mind. And so, you know, they would definitely, you know, do it a little differently if they could go and change layouts and stuff. But yeah, I'm watching these guys and I'm like, okay, what's next? How are they gonna infiltrate into the laser tag market? How are they gonna make it different? And you know, when I was there, it was me and Steve, and then a father and son came and played, and they played 2 games of it, and it's like 13-year-old versus father, and they had a blast. And so you know, it's going to be fun to see what happens. You know.
Now, I want to ask you a question about that arena because I
Okay.
have played Main Event Austin, and with no disrespect, I have very little specific memory, only because main events tend to be following the same formula and have the same arena build. For the lion's share, many of them are very similar in structure.
Yep.
So I want to know, did they make any changes to the typical formula in the arena that you saw, or was this Gel Blaster being played in what was, sort of their traditional model?
I think the laser tag arena that was in there was they didn't make any changes to the arena itself. The vesting room and everything, obviously they modified, but the arena itself, I don't think so. And we had a lot of discussions about that, like what would make the arena better. Almost like it was almost like they need to make it a little more open. And again, the dead ends have to go away. You have to play almost like in a circle. So you always have somewhere to go to get away from, the shooting. You don't want to
Well,
get.
and I asked that also because Orlando had a very different floor plan and a different build completely than almost any other main event that I had been to. So
yeah, and I hadn't seen the main event. I didn't do laser tag in main event there. I did years and years ago when it first opened. They had laser tag going in there, and then they stopped laser tag, and then they put in like a VR experience instead. And I don't think that worked well for them because I think they ended up pulling that out and putting laser tag in. But I never went back after that. I did the VR experience, and then I think they put laser tag in, and now they're doing gel blasters over that modification. So.
well, it sounds like there's a lot that we both had cool opportunities to experience, but there's still so much out there. And so I wish you lots of luck on your continued FEC travels, particularly in your new gig, where it sounds like you're going to be surpassing those numbers pretty quickly.
Yeah, and now me and you have a new game because every laser tag facility I go to now, I'm going to take a picture of me in the facility and be like, where am I?
I love this. I love this. Okay. This will be our thing. I want to know. I want to know next time you're somewhere, and this will be fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you were able to join me. And before we let you go, I like to end with a quick round of rapid fire tag talk. Some quick questions to you, and your just immediate quick answers back. You game?
Okay.
All right. Rapid fire. Favorite place you've ever played laser tag?
Funland of Fredericksburg. No.
All right. Fair enough. That was a good one. Favorite roller coaster experience?
Ooh, Fury 325 in Carowinds in South Carolina, North Carolina.
All right. Favorite redemption prize that you ever won for yourself?
Xbox.
Wow. Nice.
It took 3 years, but I didn't.
Favorite concession at the snack bar?
Oh, going back in like the 80s when I was a kid and I was growing up, it was always the nachos with jalapenos. Like, so you get the tray of nachos and then the squirt cheese and then jalapenos on top and a hot dog because I would then dip the hot dog in the cheese. It was great.
You were a glutton for punishment. All right. What is your favorite brand of We Never Run in the Arena shoes?
Wait a minute. Say that one more time?
Well, we never run in the arena. You know that.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So what are your favorite brand of shoes to wear when you're not running in a laser tag arena?
Okay. Well, I have monster feet, and so when I go shoe shopping, my experience is I walk into this place and I'm like, bring me out the biggest shoes you have, and they bring out 3 pairs of shoes. And I get to choose from those. So I usually don't get to really be picky about what my shoes are.
All right. Then we'll just end with favorite place to find all your best FEC content.
Well, I would say, okay, or like a podcast?
I thought you were going to just like give a little plug. Where can we find your
I was
stuff?
going to plug me. I was going to say Happily Ever Novak.
There you go. Followed only by Tivia Chick Loves Laser Tag, but we'll give you that one. Oh, well, this is.
I remember trying to do that at IAPA, and it took like 15 takes. So.
Well, excellent. So we'll have to check out some of your visits, and I'm intrigued now to see some of the pictures of the places you've been that maybe I haven't. So you'll give me some inspiration too. Thank you so much for joining me. That is my guest, Clint Novak. Thank you so much, Clint.
Bye, guys.
It's been great. Thanks for checking out this episode of Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Listen for more episodes on the first and third Friday of each month. Want to be a guest on an upcoming episode? Find out more and follow my blog and website at TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com.